All righty. How's everyone doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Doing
Good.
good? Yeah?
Good,
Doing
good.
good? Okay, good. All right. So I know for sure two of you know who I am, but for the others, I know I'm probably maybe met, I don't know, at conference. But my name is Nicole Purvis, and I am super, super excited about tonight of talking about mindset, because who is having a rough August like I am? I am, it is definitely a challenge this month. Getting bookings has been like, I'm looking everywhere, trying to find them. Okay. All right. So I wanted to kind of ask a couple questions for everybody, to kind of get an idea of where we are with our mindset right now. And then hopefully by the end of the call, we'll kind of change our mindset into being excited for September, and all of the exciting things that September can offer us, and even the end of August. Okay. So I want to ask yourself, what are some of the mindsets that you're having about your business right now? Are you excited about it, or are you kind of discouraged about it? And you can either put it in the comments or unmute and talk, whichever way you want to do it. But since there's very few of us, we can go ahead and talk it through.
I'm
So-
excited about my business, but nervous at the same time. I don't know,
Okay.
and somewhat overwhelmed at times.
Yeah, that I can understand.
Mhm.
Okay. How many of you guys are discouraged about your business right now? Anyone? Overwhelmed for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Discouraged. I can definitely say I'm in the kind of the same boat as that. And overwhelmed for sure. I am a homeschooling mom, so I absolutely get that. Is anyone feeling like you like kind of quit, or you don't want to push forward, or that kind of thing? Anybody feeling like that? If not, we're doing good.
No.
Okay, good. All right.
No.
So we at least don't have to overcome that one. Woohoo. Okay. So I just want to kind of introduce a little bit about myself, just so that way you guys can know more about me, so that I can kind of give you a good idea of where I've come from, where I'm at with my business, and that kind of stuff as well. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Nicole again. I've been with Pampered Chef for two and a half, almost 3 years. And I am a homeschooling mom. I have 3 kids. This will be our 4th year of homeschool that we start tomorrow. And it's crazy. It's flying by. And it's one of those things where it's been really hard to figure out how to balance my homeschool life along with my work life, along with I run the children's department at my church life. So I've got a lot of different hats that I have on right now. And so balancing it all really makes it hard sometimes to stay positive and stay encouraged. One second. Hey, shut your door when you walk, please. Okay, thank you. And so for me, I have a lot of really, really good days, and then I have some really, really low days to where I'm not getting the bookings that I want. I'm not getting the interactions. I'm not getting the sales that I want. I feel like there's times too, as a homeschooling mom, where I feel like I'm failing the kids because I didn't balance everything well that day, or whatever could possibly be thrown at me. Okay. And so those are my biggest challenges. And how many of you guys are facing scheduling, feeling like you're failing your family because you're not putting enough family time in there, feeling like you're letting your business down, letting your recruiter down, all of these different things? That's kind of where we all get all of these different emotions going on in our heads. And so for me, those have been my biggest focuses for the last couple weeks since coming back from conference. We went to conference, got the super high, like whew, I feel ready to go, right? And then we come home and you're like, oh my goodness, where is this feeling again? So how many of you work full time outside of Pamper Chef? Ashley does. How many, does anyone homeschool like I do? No? Does anybody else work like part-time? Or are you working Pamper Chef full-time? You work for Pamper
Part-time.
Chef full-time, okay?
I'm self-employed, so I run my own business
Oh,
part-time.
nice. Very cool. Okay. So we all have different, how many moms do we have on here? Okay. So all of us, okay. We all have to figure out that balance of work and home life. And it makes it challenging because you are, at least if you're full-time Pampered Chef, you're home. I'm Pampered Chef, homeschooling, like everything is home except for running the children's department at my church. And so with all of that, I don't know how Ashley does it with her balancing active job, mom, and Pampered Chef. She's got a lot of amazing hats that she wears, and how she balances it, I have no idea. Okay. All right. So I am officially under Brittany Sunday. I don't know if anybody who knows who Brittany Sunday is. She is a national director, and she is directly under Ellington Boyce. They are incredible women. They are very good at balancing their lives with Pampered Chef and being moms. Ellington works full time. She owns, I don't know how many different branches of a business. She does so much. It's incredible. And I know Brittany Sunday, she's got 2 kids. She balances a lot of things as well, with school and all the things that her kids do, as well as being a national director here at Pampered Chef. So here are some of the things that as a consultant, we face in making sure that we are staying in a positive light, okay? The positive part of it is going to be the thing that sets you apart and helps you move forward in your business. So the things that realize is that I'm a huge people pleaser. And so when it comes to all of the no's, I get really, really discouraged, or used to. I don't quite as bad as much because I've had a lot of people really help speak positively about that. And so how are we able to overcome those no's and overcome the discouragement from that is to change our mindset about it. So instead of looking at as I was turned down, we can always look at it as I'm one step closer to a yes. I'm actually talking to someone. That person actually talked to me. It's no longer this floating message that I sent out there in the abyss of who knows what's going to happen with it. So if we change our mindset to that and challenge ourselves to get a bunch of no's, to get those yeses, we will get there. I don't know if anyone knows Alicia, but she has challenged a lot of us to where you put together a spreadsheet, and I can make one for us, where your number one goal is to get as many no's as you possibly can get, instead of trying to get those yeses. Because they usually say with every 10 no's is a yes, right? So if your goal is to get 50 no's, that's 5 yeses. So our challenge is to stop looking at the no's as a negative way of looking at it, and looking at it as, you know what, that's part of the job. That's going to come. We need to expect them. So let's kind of make it a challenge for us, make it exciting. Therefore, it will no longer take that hold of disappointment in our business and in our life. Because then we expect it. We know it's going to happen. And it's no longer that, ooh, someone's responding. I hope it's a yes. And then it's oh, we don't want that. Okay. All right. So the other thing is I know some people talk about how they get scared or nervous about the possibilities of the business. And a lot of that can be, they don't know what it's going to bring. They don't know how it's going to handle it, if it's going to be so much work, this and that. So for me, personally, what I do is I take everything by baby steps. I don't overwhelm myself with an amazing amount of things that I know that I can't handle. So for example, like again, I have to outline and schedule every minute of my day. So my calendar looks like I am a crazy person who has something scheduled for every second. But the reason I do that, and I really started focusing on that, especially after conference, because one of the classes we took was about time management. And I have decided that I am going to schedule every single thing out for my business and my life so that they no longer collide together. Because one thing I noticed last year, especially as a homeschooling mom, that I was letting Pamper Chef kind of take over every aspect of my life, which was becoming overwhelming. It was causing my phone to be out 24/7. It was causing me to be distracted and not be with my family as much as I really wanted to. So what I have decided to do is I literally have it in my phone, and I will show you guys, like I look like a crazy person, but I have it in my phone for if you can see it. I don't know if it's going to make it where you guys can see it. There we go. Okay. So break down every single thing on there. So I have subjects written down on there, how long we will focus on them. But then after that, I have also broke down, I will only be working Pampered Chef business between a certain time period. And I have it from 12:30 to 2:30 during the day that I will work my business. So before that, I will not even think about Pampered Chef. It will be specifically for school. And I will put my phone in another room so that I don't touch it. So then that way I am able to stay focused on the other things. It's okay to walk away from your Pampered Chef business and only work it a certain amount of time during the day. Don't feel bad when you can't get to someone who has messaged you. They don't need you that badly. They will still be there when you get to that moment. So basically I've had to do that even with my children's stuff. Running the children's department at my church, I have to run events. I have to plan schedules for the people who teach during children's church every Sunday. I have to manage like worship music and all of that stuff. I have to do everything for that. So I've also scheduled in so many hours where I'm doing that. But when I focus on each task within those time frames, I end up getting more done and I have quality work done because I know that I only have this amount of time set aside. So therefore I'm getting the work done. I'm getting it done fast and I'm getting it done without distractions. So then that way, not only have I developed more time with my kids, with their schoolwork, with my other job, and with all the other extracurricular stuff my kids do, we are also able to have a successful business with only 2 hours a day going towards it. Some of the other things I also have learned within my business is that I tend to get scared about isolating people. And I tend to worry more about people's opinions than actually doing what's best for myself. And one thing I have learned with working with Pampered Chef is branching out, talking to people outside of your own little unit is an amazing thing. And the reason that is because you can get a lot different ideas. You develop a lot of amazing relationships with people that you never saw coming. Ashley and Heather are a couple of examples on that. Dana is another. And so with that, we have developed a group where we encourage each other. We help each other towards each other's goals. We bounce ideas off of each other. And we have someone to go to when we are just like, oh my word, it is not working. I'm getting so many no's, I'm about to explode, or whatever it could possibly be. Okay. So that's just kind of one of those things. Having a unit, just a couple of people, you don't want it to get too big, but I do definitely recommend finding people within the business that are like-minded, who are positive influences, because you do not need people who are going to speak negatively into you. You need the positive. We already get enough negative stuff as it is, that positive is what's going to build you up so that you are able to keep moving forward. Because if you don't have that, it is going to be hard to pull yourself out of it. We all know that having our why is extremely important. Why did you start Pampered Chef? Why are you still in Pampered Chef if you've been here for a while? Knowing that is a huge thing, okay? You need to know your whys, but you also need a support system that's going to build you up, encourage you, and help you when things get hard. The other thing I want to encourage everyone to do, and it really does help with mindset more than I ever thought it would, and it is growth. And I know the word growth kind of freaks people out. It's very overwhelming. It's not always the funnest thing to do. In fact, when I think growth, I think growing pains, and growing pains, especially as an adult, are quite painful. And I am not the biggest fan of them, but I do them anyway. I always encourage finding a book. Usually I try is key here. But I try to stay consistent in reading a book that I am focusing on in my business. If you're a leader, find one about leadership. There's a great one by John Maxwell that does a really great job in helping you be a positive leader. It helps you look at leadership differently because you want to be a leader. You don't want to be a boss. So there's a big difference between those two words. So I strongly recommend the leadership training by John Maxwell because of that mindset difference that he gives you. Because again, we are here to do this together. We're not here to tell people what to do. Okay. So it makes it a lot different. It makes it less overwhelming for us as leaders because it's not so scary. We become friends with the people we're recruiting. We're not here to be their boss. We're here to be their friends. We're here to work together. We're here to strive towards bigger goals. We're here to work towards something together, not I'm going to do this, so you need to do this and you need to do that. Okay. So we're not designating tasks to each other. We're all working towards the same goal. Now, if you're looking for something because you are working on like a positive mindset, because that's something you're struggling with, The Energy Bus is an incredible book for that. It really is one of those all of us can relate to. We all have kids. And with that, it really is a way of breaking it down. He starts off telling you this whole spiel about how he relates to his kids and they're being loud and obnoxious, and he gets kind of angry because he's so overwhelmed with all the other things of like bills and all the other stuff that's thrown at us. And because of that, his mindset ends up being a negative mindset. So instead of seeing the first positive thing, he's seeing the negative thing. And then as the book goes on, he begins to see things differently, sees things in a different light, and begins to be positive. And then the minute he starts to be positive, he sees his business in his workplace, in his home, in his relationship with his kids, everything changes and flip-flops. It's The Energy Bus. It is an incredible, I'll post the images of, or I'll have Heather, whoever your leaders are, I will get them the book and I'll have it where they can share it with you. I did the Audible version, and it was nice because I was able to kind of listen to it as I did whatever I needed to do in the morning before my kids all got up. So I was able to get fed with it. But at the same time, sitting down and physically reading a book is not always the easiest for me. All right, so another really good book I would recommend as well is Taking the Stairs. It definitely makes you look at things a lot differently in the fact that I believe it is that book where Ellington quotes all the time, where success isn't owned, it's rented, and the rent is due every day. And that is always something that Ellington is pouring into us, constantly getting into our heads, that if you want it to be successful, you've got to work for it. It isn't just one thing. Okay. All right. So, and that one is a great one. It also kind of gives you another, you'll never look at stairs and escalators the same way again. It's definitely one of those about taking shortcuts and trying to not do things consistently is not going to make your business run the way that it needs to. So that's kind of my next point. My next point is we need to change our mindset on what consistency means. For me, when I first started out and the word consistency kept being thrown out there, it would be like, oh, I hate that word. It is the worst word ever, and everyone keeps using it. But consistency is key. I can say without a doubt. So when was it? Last year, the beginning of last year, I was blocked on Facebook for 5 months. And I lost my consistency. I didn't keep messaging people. I got discouraged. I couldn't run my business, all of these different things. And then I went to conference. And of course, that lovely word consistency kept getting thrown out there at me. And then I came back and I started being consistent. And so with that consistency, things with my business began to change. And even right now, with this awful month of August, it is not my greatest month. In fact, it's probably one of the worst months for me. But even though I have stayed consistent in sending my messages, even if I'm getting a ton of no's, I've stayed consistent in making sure that if I don't get anything else done that day, I am sending at least 30 messages a day to guarantee that I'm working towards those no's to get to that yes. And sure enough, just before this call, my consistency paid off and I did finally get a yes. So we got another booking on the calendar. So be sure to stay consistent, stay positive. I get that it's discouraging, but that's the whole point of walking away from your business. Because if you're constantly having your phone in your hand, looking at it, oh my goodness, what's going on? Constantly checking your messages. That's when it gets overwhelming and discouraging. But when you take the time to sit there and only work your business a couple of hours, like I've got one who is a teacher, and we have found a time that she can work her business, and her business is like from 4 to 5 o'clock in the morning. There's no way that that would work for me, but that's the best time for her to get her messages done, to get her parties set up, to do all the things that she needs to do for her Pampered Chef business. But then it also not take away from her school, not take away from her grandkids and all of that. So when you schedule that time for your Pampered Chef business, it keeps you from getting overwhelmed. It keeps you from becoming Pampered Chef obsessed. It keeps you from constantly thinking Pampered Chef when you wake up to when you go to bed. We joined Pampered Chef for freedom, right? We wanted to spend time with our families. We wanted to have more time. We wanted to bring in more finances. We wanted to do all of these things. But if we become consumed by it, it overwhelms us, then it exhausts us. And then the next step is obviously quitting because we're just done. Okay. So those are my top things for making sure that we keep our mindset in a positive light, that our businesses don't take over every aspect of our lives. So then that way it doesn't become a negative light, not just in your eyes, but in your family's eyes and everyone else's with you. I know some people who were working their business so much that they were even working their businesses at family functions. And why were they even at the family function if they're on their phone like this, not even paying attention to what's going on at their family function? That is the exact opposite of what our Pampered Chef business is for. One thing I learned at conference is we need to make our jobs look attractive. And is that going to make it look attractive when we're sitting there at a family function working our Pampered Chef business instead of being involved in our family function. So make sure that you're taking find that time frame that works best for you to work your business, and then walk away from it. And I know it sounds really hard because our phones, everything else that we do with our life is on our phone as well. So when I'm not working Pampered Chef, I take my messages and I will turn it on silent. And then I can have where each group is labeled. So like, if I know it's Heather, or I know that it's Ashley or Dana who's reaching out to me, I know that that's a casual conversation. So I can actually talk to them. And I know that it has nothing to do with the business part of my business. So it's not a customer reaching out. I no longer send out messages and then, oh my gosh, somebody just responded. I got to go check that. I no longer do that because it stresses me out, because I feel like I'm constantly having to be on top of it. I'm constantly having to be on that. But what's more unattractive to my customers than me being like, oh my gosh, she's just responded. Am I going to have to be like that if I try to be a consultant? So then when I try to recruit them, they're already turned off. So that's just some things that you want to make sure that you're aware of. But I want to encourage you guys that you guys are doing amazing. You're doing what you need to do for your business just by being here. I'm super, super excited to get to know all of you guys a little bit more with these calls that Heather's put together. It's going to be a great, amazing time to grow in all of the different things that we do. And I look forward to hearing all the different ideas that all of you guys have as well with your businesses. But I hope this helps because I know this month is an extremely challenging month because everyone's starting school. All of this stuff, like I've had so many people, they're just not able to do anything because they're having to buy the school supplies and that kind of stuff. But in the way of looking at it, because I've had to have these conversations with people, I've also taken their no's and turned them into a yes for another month. So even though I didn't get them for this month, which is discouraging because I wanted them for this month, but I also got them for later on in the holiday season. So I know that I'm set up for the holidays for my family much better. So that's all I have for tonight.
Hey,
And look at that.
you.
We've done it in 30 minutes.
Yay! Yay, that's
Thank you,
awesome.
Nicole.
You're
Nicole.
welcome.
So
Do you
I
guys have any
wanted
questions?
I want to mention a couple things too. And it's funny, I was just listening to Kristen Boss today. She's doing,
Oh yeah, she's good.
she is good. She's doing this like 5-day thing about leadership. And she said, where is it? If I'm not growing, I'm declining. And I've heard about that a lot too, the idea of, okay, if you're not moving up, you're always going to be moving. You're either going to be moving up or you're going to be sliding down. You're not going to be staying in one, in the same spot. So I love the idea of growing and using, I'm one of these that I feel like I never have time to read, but
Audiobooks.
Audio. And that's what I was just going to say. But I've started really making use of those little pockets of time in the car, dropping my, when I'm coming home from dropping my kid off at school, doing the dishes, going for a walk, picking up a room or whatever, like any of those little jobs that you do, folding laundry, and using those times to listen to audiobooks or I do a lot of podcasts, especially if I'm feeling overwhelmed. I find a podcast that I can listen to right then because that will get me in check. And so I love the idea. And I felt a little bit of shame at first trying to do the audiobook thing because I should be able to read a book, but no, I'm not going to do that.
Don't feel shame. Like I literally was like, I don't have time. So instead of I have to have my coffee in the morning. I'm just that person. Okay. So I have to have my coffee time. So I was like, you know what? I'll listen to my audiobook while doing my coffee time. And it ended up being the best thing because it was like having my brain coffee along with my coffee. So it worked out really well.
Coffee. I need some brain coffee all the time. I like that. I like that so much. And, and also making time for those mindset moments in the morning, maybe whether it's reading your Bible or just having some quiet time, doing an audiobook or a podcast, and just make it like take 10 minutes for yourself so that you're not overwhelmed, not run, bound down to everything.
You will run yourself ragged.
Exactly. So, but I loved it. So thank you.
You're so welcome.
Any other questions from anyone or comments?
You can do it.
I'm excited to do this. And just so you know, the next call will be tomorrow morning. For anybody who is available, 10 o'clock Central Time. Is that right? I had it pulled up right in front of me and I just lost it. And I'll be leading that. We're going to do a little tech tip Tuesday.
Nice.
I'll keep it pretty short, but just something to help with your business that's technology related or systems related, something like that. So,
very cool.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Nicole, so much.
You're so welcome. Have a great night, guys.
Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.